there's a lot of people, out there. There's a lot of new authors coming in, to BattleTech, and certainly a lot of people kind of writing fan fiction. What are kind of like, basic 101 tips for writing in the BattleTech universe? Things that people should know and take account if they're kind of aspiring to do this either on their own amateur or, get into things officially.
Well, I think that whether you're writing for the BattleTech universe or you're writing for yourself, what's important is that you develop all the tools that you need to have. Where I think writing fanfic or writing unauthorized books, I think that's great if you want to do that stuff to learn how to write. But remember that if you're writing in someone else's universe, you're not doing any characterization, you're not doing any world building. And those are two massive pieces of being a professional writer. And all of these properties, and as you noted before, I've worked for a lot of different properties.
Yeah.
They're looking for people who bring more to the game, who are going to enhance their property, not just service their property.
Right.
Okay, so you want to have all of those skills. Characterization, if you want to be a writer and have a career, characterization is the number one skill you have to learn. And it's out of the top 5, it's probably 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so learn how to create cool characters. Learn how to make them grow. If you look at who Victor was in the beginning of Blood of Kerensky, and then you look at who Victor is at the end of Malicious Intent, those are 2 entirely different characters.
Yeah.
All right. That growth arc right there is something you have to be able to do if you want to get in. The other thing you have to do if you want to be a writer is sit down and write. There are plenty of people out there who like to have written. They enjoy the thought of having done this, but they don't actually like sitting down. There are some days when it is brutal, when you absolutely hate it. I mean, I'd rather be out tarring roads, in the Phoenix summertime, okay? Because it's awful. And there are other times it is a dream. As I was saying before, I loved writing Natasha Kerensky. She was just a great character to write. Always knew what to say, could be nasty when she had to, and she could back it up. An absolute dream.
Yeah.
Victor and Kay, they were a lot of fun to write. They had different motivations. They were emotionally vulnerable. They could be hurt. They had a lot of pressure on them. And a great chunk of writing about them was seeing how much I could heap on them before they would break.
Yeah.
And these are the things you need to learn to do. BattleTech is more than just Kay gets into a mech and shoots the crap out of things.
Right.
Okay. We have to feel it. We have to feel that experience, and we have to feel that character grow. I did yesterday over Zoom, I did a 2-hour seminar for Arizona State University for the Piper Center for Creative Writing about these very things, stepping people through programs of this is how you attain these ends.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of work. So, prepare to strap in and work hard for a long time.
And I was, the last podcast I recorded, 2 days ago, which we'll publish right before this one. I was talking with an artist, an animator, DC Bruins, about his work, and he made a magnificent little short video that's up on YouTube, and we were talking about that, and we were kind of talking about kind of the legal side of kind of publishing stuff, and so what kind of insights can you give people there? Because I know that there's hesitation. For a lot of people in terms of what they can kind of put out there in public, as someone who's kind of worked with these companies, can you, maybe give a little tips for people in terms of where to navigate, what the do's and don'ts on the legal side are, for kind of working on an IP? Sure.
Look, I'm not a lawyer. Okay.
Course,
so
yeah.
let me state that up front. Copyright law is unbelievably strict, but has a couple of exceptions. Okay. One, if you were doing stuff for your personal use only, like you want to practice, and so you're going to write a Harry Potter scene that didn't appear in one of the books. Okay. That's okay. You can do that. All right. The second you try and make money off of it, you are in a world of hurt. Okay. And a lot of these IPs, big companies have lawyers that if they find out what you're doing, they're going to send you a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Now, different companies have different attitudes. Some of them will look at a site where you upload fan fiction for other people to read and critique, and they decide that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. But assume that doesn't matter what they've done in the past. Assume that someone new got on the board of directors that day, and all of a sudden it is death to fanfic day. Okay. And the earlier point I made is also kind of critical. Because you can't sell this, and because you're not developing all the skills you need to be a writer, you also have to start writing your own original stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to learn how to be a full service writer. So sure, if you want to practice, if you want to set a story in someone else's universe, again, as practice, that's fine. But it's better for you to make your own universe and your own characters, because that will develop you as a writer.
Gotcha. And yeah, I know it's tricky for some because, they have things like Patreon these days. And so there may be stuff tied to what they're doing with Patreon and bringing on contributors, but they might have other work that's out there and just, concern of kind of those two conflating and, wrongly assuming that the work that's free to the public is generating income where it might just be, a patrons, but
lawyers are paid to make you stop doing things.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's violating what is their client's wish or what is their client's property. And ultimately we have to acknowledge that the way copyright law is written, whether you like it or not, I and my heirs own anything I create for my lifetime. And right now, 75 years beyond that. Okay. So it's not free for all. Ideas should not be free. Because that's just not how the law is written.
Yeah.
And if people don't like that, please, God, go out and vote, then talk to your representatives, and get them to shorten that to life plus 28.
Yeah.
It's the way it used to be. I mean, right now, if you were an author and you wrote something and you had the good fortune not to die before Walt Disney, if you have died, if you have or will die after Walt Disney died, right now your work will never go out of copyright. Because Disney keeps paying people to push that number down the road.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because they have to protect their property.
Yeah.
I fully understand it. If you don't like that, if that's not what you think should be done, then by all means, talk to your Congress critters.
Yeah.
Vote the people in that support your view and get that changed.
Gotcha.
Us creatives, I may not like it, but one, it's not going to run out until I die, so who cares?
Yeah.
But two, if we're truly creative, we'll find other stuff to do.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one other thing, quite honestly. If you want to write fanfic, go back to things that are already in public domain. There are tons of things that are in public domain. There are tons of detective characters. All of the Tarzan books are in public domain. There's plenty of things that you can go back and you can write fanfic where you're not going to be in trouble with anybody, and you can turn around and sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, just for stuff that I do for myself or for short story anthologies or things, I love going back and mining the characters that were wildly popular in 1895. There was this villain written by an Australian writer, and the Guy Newell was his name, but the villain's name was Dr. Nicola. Most wonderful melodramatic villain ever.
Yeah.
And it's all in public domain. And I just pulled him out and used him in a short story, a little cameo mention and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you can do more with it. It's cool. And again, you're playing in someone else's world. You're not going to be in trouble. You can sell it. If you're going to take the fan fiction route, if you want to be, it's like fan fiction is like riding a bicycle with training wheels. And that's fine. If you want to do that, there's plenty of material you can play with.
Are there any kind of key ones that you think, people are looking for other, my Stackpole, writing outside of BattleTech that you're like, check out this one first,
I've done a lot of different stuff. If you like fantasy, Talion Revenant is certainly been real popular. I also have a book that nobody in New York wanted, just because apparently, as far as New York was concerned, at least 10 years ago, superheroes don't sell. I don't know. Yeah,
that's it. Plan. Right? Even the marketing guys make mistakes sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, really. I did a novel called "In Hero Years, I'm Dead."
Okay. And
it's a superhero noir novel. Sort of imagine Watchmen, but written by Dashiell Hammett. Okay. Even darker than it is, but also satirical and vaguely amusing in certain portions. And that book I really like, and a lot of those characters have taken hold, so I'm still writing stories set there too.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, I'll kind of, put out the word, get more people into your work. Well,